You're a music producer. You make a genre like hip-hop or lo-fi where you're going for a warm, vintage, nostalgic type of sound, and you're shopping around for plugins that will give you the type of sound. My name is El Marquis, musician, rapper, record producer, unashamed crafts follower, and today we're going to review Tapeboy by Curtis King.
El Marquis Productions.
Hello fellow bedroom producers, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time seeing me, I make videos that give advice to independent artists and producers all around the world. I break down my beat making and songwriting process. I make tutorial videos on Logic Pro 10, and I do product reviews. So if any of that interests you, I need you to do me a really quick favor. Go down, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on notifications so that way you'll always be notified whenever I make another video like this, and you help other people who have similar interests as you see more videos like this. Got that out of the way? Bet. Let's get into the video. First of all, if you don't already know, Curtis King is an artist, producer, entrepreneur, content creator who's built a very established brand within the music producer community. He owns a sound design company called Slap Experts, whose main focus in the past year was actually putting out sound packs, but recently they started releasing plugins. In my previous video, I actually did a review on the first plugin called the Beat Timer, so you can go click the card wherever it is and go check that out. And now the second plugin that they released is Tapeboy. So if you haven't already heard of it, you may be wondering,
what is Tapeboy?
Basically, Tapeboy is a cassette emulator. It's of a similar style of plugin to RC20 or Isotope Vinyl, if you're familiar with those. Basically, what it does in a nutshell is, if you're going for a vintage style sound that may be associated with old record players or just old music from the 50s and 60s, then this plugin can help achieve that sound. It can warm up your audio, it can detune it to make it sound like it's being played off of an old record. You can add a really pleasant distortion type of sound, and it has a couple of other neat features. So rather than just talk about it, you probably want to hear and see what it does. So now I'm going to go switch over to the computer and I'm going to review and demo the Tapeboy by Curtis King. Alright, so now we are on slapexperts.com where you are able to purchase the Tapeboy plugin. Also, before I go any further, I do want to say that Curtis King and no one else at slapexperts.com is sponsoring me to talk about the plugin. I'm personally a big fan of Curtis King as well as Slap Experts, and I just want to shout out a plugin that I think is really cool. So now that we got that out the way, so I will include a link in the description to purchase this plugin. If you want to navigate to it yourself, just go to slapexperts.com, click over here on the section that says plugins, and then you just go down here to Tapeboy, click on that, and then you go to the page where you can find out more information about Tapeboy and then also purchase it for yourself. So the plugin actually is reasonably affordable. It's $39.95. which I do believe actually is a bit more affordable than other plugins within this similar style. If you scroll down on the page, you'll be able to find this walkthrough video that Curtis King made that goes over how you actually use the plugin and what it does for you. And of course, as you scroll down, you can find out more information about the Tapeboy plugin, and pretty much does give an overview of what modes the Tapeboy plugin offers, which is really cool for you to read through if you really want to find out what it does for you. Now I'm actually going to go switch over to Logic Pro 10 and I'm going to show you what it sounds like. So in order to have some audio to demo for you, I actually pulled out a MIDI from one of my free sample kits on my website, El Marquis Productions. This is a MIDI from my free pack, Old Photos. I'll also leave a link in the description for you to download this free pack if you would like. The pack includes 5 samples that you can use. I actually just pulled out the MIDI for one of them and put them on a piano, just so that we have some audio that's clean and doesn't already have effects on it, so you can really hear what the Tapeboy plugin is doing. So if you are a Logic Pro 10 user, after you download and install the Tapeboy plugin, just go over here to Audio Effects, click on it, go down to Audio Units, go to Curtis King, and then navigate to Tapeboy and put it in stereo. And now we have the Tapeboy plugin. Cool. So in order to activate it, you actually have to click the power button right there. And now it's on, so now you can see the different modes that you can use to affect. So now actually let me play the loop without the Tapeboy plugin on it, just so you can hear what we're starting out with. Cool. That's a piano out of Contact. There's no effects on it right now other than some reverb that's already in Contact. And the piano line itself is really slow, feels really nostalgic, really peaceful. I made that little piano line with lo-fi producers in mind, which is also why I chose it for this video. So now let's turn on the Tapeboy plugin. First of all, just looking at it right now, it's a really beautiful plugin. I really like the cassette player graphic that was inspired by the Home Alone movie. The plugin itself is very high quality, and of course it looks high quality, which does matter to me a lot. So the first page that we're on right here, you're able to add a wobble effect and a ducking effect. What does the wobble do? Basically, it detunes the audio. It makes it sound a bit more vintage, more nostalgic. And basically, you click on it and then you just drag it up or down to make the wobble sound more apparent or to make it sound like it's barely there. So I'm just gonna slowly increase the wobble just so you can hear what it sounds like. So that's off. Here's it a bit higher. As you can hear, basically it's detuning the audio. It makes it sound like it was recorded and being played back through an old cassette player, which if you make or listen to lo-fi and some styles of hip-hop music, you're probably very familiar with that sound. So let me just drag it back down. So now let me show you the ducking feature. So the wobble option, that's actually a pretty common feature in other plugins of the similar style. The ducking feature is actually something that's really cool that should be included in other plugins like this, but it wasn't. So shout out to Curtis King for including it in this one. Basically what ducking is doing is it's kind of like an automatic sidechain effect. If you wanted to have the same effect without using this plugin, basically you would have to sidechain the track that you want to be sidechained to maybe another kick or another drum or some other track, and then have to set up all the parameters and a compressor to make sure that it does sidechain correctly, which if you want full control over an effect like this, maybe you may want to do, or maybe you just want a really quick solution so that you don't have to go through all that routing and you just want to get that sound. So you're able to do that right here just by adjusting this knob and choosing the interval that you would like your audio to duck at. So you can either have it duck on a whole beat, a half beat, or a quarter beat, which if you understand basics of music theory, that may make sense. And of course, the further you turn it up, the more apparent that it is, and the further down that you turn it, the more subtle that it is. So actually, I'll put it on a quarter beat, and then I'll turn it up pretty high just so you can hear what it's doing. Turn it down a little bit. So if you're listening to what's going on, the simplest way to explain it is that it's just making the volume of your audio decrease in volume and then increase in volume, which you've probably heard in other lo-fi styles of tracks. And yeah, I love this feature just because it's super quick and easy to add that effect. RC20 has a similar feature with one of their parameters. However, what I like about in Tapeboy is that you're actually able to choose what interval that it does that effect on. In a similar plugin like RC20, it just does the ducking effect at whatever preset interval that they decided, which it still works, it's cool, but I like being able to duck at an actual interval and have it really vibe with the tempo of the beat. So cool. What other effects come with this plugin? There's also a lo-fi mode, which basically adds ambience to your audio. So not to keep comparing this to RC20, but if you've seen RC20, their noise section, that's pretty much what this section does. But what makes this stand out from other plugins that have this similar feature is that it offers more than just a vinyl cracking noise. So actually you can choose from different ambient noises such as rain, street noise, vinyl, a radio hiss, fire, which actually might be my favorite, sub blue, which I believe is like airplane noise, cafe, a different style of rain, storm, which is really cool because, for example, if you wanted to add some rain ambience, maybe you might have to click out of your DAW, go over to YouTube, find some rain samples, or maybe you might have to go through a separate folder on your computer and try to find the perfect rain ambience noise, and then have to drag it out into Logic and then stretch out the audio to make sure that it lasts throughout the duration of the beat. Being able to do it right here in the plugin is so much quicker, and it's really cool that it offers more ambient noises than just a vinyl sound. And also you can use this knob right here to control how loud that you want this ambience. So I've talked about this enough, maybe you should actually hear it. So here's the rain noise. So this is right now, this is really loud just so you can hear what it's doing. I personally like to drag it down to a point where it's there and it's really subtle. You can hear it, but it's not overpowering anything. In fact, I might turn it down a little bit more. So that's at a really good level. Let's go through some of the other sounds. So this is like street noise. I'm gonna turn it up again just so you can hear it. So if you're just walking around in the street in a busy city, this is the type of noise that you would get. It's that vinyl crackle that you're probably really familiar with. Radio hiss from an old cassette player. Fire right here, that's my favorite. It's somewhat similar to that vinyl noise and that hiss noise, but it just sounds like a fireplace. This is a really good one too. This is that sub blue sound from like an airplane. This is a really good one, a cafe. And then a heavier running noise. Another cool thing about this noise effect is that you have the option to either have it playing throughout the entire duration of the beat, or you can have it only play while the sample is playing. For example, going back again to RC20, unless you automate the noise to turn on and off, the noise on RC20 will just keep playing until the end of your beat or song. Whereas here, if I go to the end of the sample, for example, so right now you'll hear it playing. You see, they'll keep playing, and now they'll. And then you do see it stop after the audio from the MIDI has completed. Now, if I just want the ambience to continue throughout the whole duration of the beat, just click that right there. If you want the ambience to continue playing, just click that little button right there, and then you'll hear ambience all throughout your beat or song. I'll just click it again. So that's really cool. That's a feature that I've used even outside of just lo-fi style music. Quick shout out to another artist I'm producing. Her name is Brittany Lee. There's a song that we recently worked on that's not a lo-fi style track at all. It's more so like an alternative R&B / pop style song. And there was a sample that we used where we just wanted to add a whole bunch of different effects to make it sound cool and different. One of the things that I added on there was actually that fire preset, which is cool. So even if you're not making a lo-fi style track, maybe you just want to add some noise to your audio sample, you can use that little section down here to find some really cool, really quick and easy to use noise samples. Awesome. Let's go on to the next section, warm. So the easiest way for me to really describe what warm is doing is it's kind of like a filter. It rolls off some of the high end and also adds a bit of a presence boost to your audio. Basically, you're covering up the audio a little bit and taking off some of the high end and making it sound warmer. Which, if you are familiar with the sound that you get from vinyl or from old nostalgic records, typically they do roll off some of that high end. And similar to the noise section, you have different presets that you can add that offer different styles of sounds. And then of course you can adjust how much of that filter that you want or how little of that filter that you want. So I'm gonna play the audio again before turning on the warm section. And now let me slowly increase it. Actually, I'll increase it all the way so you can really hear what it's doing. So it's cool, it's like, that's like doing like a little auto filter type of sound. Here's the next one. Make it sound more subtle. This is a really cool one. This one's really subtle, and I like this one a lot. Really, all of them are really pleasant. So that's really cool. It's like an auto filter section, which I really like. The long way to do that would be to find an EQ or filter plugin and then do all the automation yourself. And I'm not about that. I like plugins that are able to make my job quick and convenient, so that's a really cool feature that I definitely do use in my own music. And now the last section of this plugin over here is the 8-bit mode. So I don't know the perfect way to describe 8-bit, to be honest. It's a specific style of distortion that you may associate with like an old Nintendo game. You've probably heard this style of distortion in various genres, whether it's lo-fi or even just other styles of music in general. It does have a very specific sound to it, which I'll just demonstrate since I'm clearly not being able to describe it with words very well. And also, just like the lo-fi and warm sections, you have different styles of 8-bit distortion that you're able to apply. So the default one is Bits, another one's called Crush, Tendo, which I'm assuming is named after Nintendo, Grits, Clark, Edge, Who, and basically those are just different types of 8-bit distortion. And then of course you can use this knob to add however much that you want and make it sound really obvious or make it really subtle. So let's drag it maybe up here, and I'm going to shut up and we're going to hear what it sounds like. I'm turning it up a little bit so you can really hear it. So that's really cool. That's like really heavy distortion. Sounds like, they just made that piano sound like a guitar. I really like this one too. This one sounds just more subtle to me, so I like that one. Really gritty. This one actually might be my favorite. At least for on this track it is. This is really subtle too. It's like you can hear it, but it's not like really aggressive. That one's definitely a bit heavier than the in comparison to the other ones. And now we're back at the start. This is awesome. I really like how that sounds. For me personally, for my style, I'll probably add that really subtly, unless maybe I want it to be really obvious for like a very brief moment or section in the song. And another cool thing about these effects is that maybe you only want a little bit of all of these effects on the audio that you are manipulating. So right now by default the mix knob is all the way up, which means that you're hearing 100% of the effects that you added. Let's say you want to keep some of your original audio and you only want to add a little bit of these effects. So you can grab the mix knob and turn it down to make all the combined effects more subtle and just blend them in, or you can just have them all the way in. So I'm just going to turn up the wobble a bit. Let's see, we'll go over here to the noise section, we'll turn this down a bit, and I'll keep the 8-bit on. Let's hear what it sounds like at 100%, and then I'll just dial the mix back a little bit. So that's 100%. Let's hear what it sounds like just by blending it in. Hear that? So now, like, the way that I have it set up right now, basically, to me it sounds kind of like a chorus effect. And that's just a different way to get some different sounds or different tones. Awesome. Turn it back all the way to 100%. And also, if you are mindful of gain staging, you are able to affect how loud the output of this plugin is, just to make sure that you're still at a reasonable volume. And if you're not clipping, that's pretty self-explanatory. You just turn it down to turn the volume down, and up to turn the volume up. And those are pretty much all the main features of the plugin. Also, some additional features on it are that you can undo any change that you made. Like the volume knob was the last thing I adjusted, so you see it going like that, and then that undid the mix. And also you can redo what you did, which is awesome because maybe you accidentally adjusted one of the effects that you didn't want to do. You can just hit edit undo, and then you're right back to your last change. Another really cool feature about Tapeboy that you really don't find with other plugins is that you actually get rewarded for using it. So basically, the more you use this plugin on a consecutive basis, you'll actually get rewarded for it. So I already got the 7-day streak. That's currently my best streak ever, and then I guess I forgot to use it for a day or two, and now I'm on a 3-day streak. So basically you have a 7-day streak, a 15-day streak, and a 30-day streak. As you reach these milestones, you'll actually be rewarded with free sounds and free discount codes to use on slapexperts.com, which, if you are a fan of the site like I am, that's really valuable. And if you go over here to the settings tab, you have the option to either turn on or turn off the animations. I'll probably have it turned off actually, just to save a bit of CPU. There's a help option over here, which will redirect you to the plugin support page, which actually I did have to use early on. In an earlier update of Tapeboy, it wasn't working properly with Logic, so I just sent them a really quick ticket, and then their customer service representative reached back out to me really quickly and provided me with a solution, which was awesome. Shout out to good customer service. And then also you can choose the size of the plugin itself. So right now it's at 100%. If maybe I want to make it a little bit smaller, I could put it down to 75%. That saves some screen real estate. Right now I'm using my MacBook Pro. Maybe you're using a monitor that has more screen real estate, or maybe you're just blind and you need to see the plugin really big. You can boost it all the way up to 150%, and that is huge. Pause. And last but not least, this plugin also does come with presets. So if you really quickly want to add some effects, or you just want to go through different presets just to find some quick inspiration and then manipulate them yourself, you have the option to do that. So you can click through these buttons over here to scroll through the presets, or you can click on the menu right here and click through these different folders and pick a preset for yourself, especially if you remember the name of the preset that you're going for. You also can click on the search bar right here and search for the specific preset. And if you made your own preset that you really like, you can save it for yourself. So actually, let's hear what this preset sounds like. Let's go through another one. Scroll through another one. Awesome. And then of course you can manipulate the preset as you want. So I'll turn the wobble down and add a little bit of it back in. Turn the 8-bit off. And I just realized I skipped over one other feature of this plugin that I'll just go through right now. So the final feature, I guess, unless I missed something else, is that you can actually add a high pass or low pass filter to your audio. So I'm gonna take that down. So in order to enable the filter, you just click this section right here, and then if you drag this knob down, it's a low pass filter, which means that it removes the high frequencies. And if you pay attention to those numbers, you'll see where you're rolling off the audio at. And then this knob, it just does the opposite of that. That's a high pass filter or a low cut. So basically you remove some of the low end. So I'll show you what that sounds like. So I just took out the high frequencies. Let's take out the low frequencies. And now let's combine them. That's cool. Now I think I went over all of the features of Tapeboy. Cool, so now we just went over all of Tapeboy's features. Now what's my overall opinion on this plugin and how would I use this in my own workflow? So of course, I really like this plugin. This is actually going to be one of my go-to plugins. Whenever I'm looking for that really nostalgic, really vintage style of sound, I'll primarily use it for lo-fi style music, but you can use this plugin for pretty much any style of music. Like I mentioned earlier, I did use this on an alternative R&B / pop style track with another artist that I'm working with. I've also used this plugin when I was making trap beats, so pretty much just be creative with it. This plugin was designed with the hip-hop and lo-fi style producer in mind, but of course you can use this effect on anything and make it sound cool. One of the obvious comparisons of Tapeboy would be to RC20. I've even seen several people actually say that Tapeboy has pretty much killed off RC20. For me personally, I use both Tapeboy and RC20, and I'll be using other similar style plugins in the future as well. The only other plugin with a similar style to this that I've used is RC20, just because I'm not that big of a plugin junkie. I don't really go out and download a whole bunch of plugins, especially after I've already gotten comfortable with one, but I will be downloading more in the future, and this is definitely one that I'll be using. It didn't kill off RC20 for me. There are some sounds that I can get out of RC20 that I can't get out of Tapeboy, and there are sounds that I can get in Tapeboy that I can't get out of RC20. So basically, they're both just different tools in my toolbox or in my plugin chain that I'll turn to as I need them. But if you would like me to make a video that directly compares RC20 to Tapeboy or any other similar style plugin, just let me know in the comment section below. But yes, overall I give this plugin a 5 out of 5. It works exactly as it's advertised. There's honestly not really anything I would change to it that I can think of off the top of my head. Maybe I might think of something later. It works exactly as it's advertised. It's a really affordable plugin as it's only $39.95. It looks great. It sounds great. It's really easy to use. Actually, now that I think about it, if I were to add anything, it would be to maybe add a few more parameters to some of the modes like the wobble or maybe the warm or 8-bit sections, just because really quick, I'll just pull up for a comparison RC20. So for example, in RC20's wobble section, you have more control over the rate that it does this effect at, as well as the mix. Whereas on Tapeboy, you don't really have control over the wobble effect itself, just how loud and apparent it is. It's similar also with the digital section, which is their version of Bit Crush. So in RC20, you can really dial in the tone that you want by turning it up and affecting, if you're looking at the graphic right there, the style of bit crushing that's occurring. You also can affect the rate and just how smooth the bit crushing sounds, even what frequencies that it's affecting. So basically the difference is with RC20, you have a bit more control over the effects, whereas on Tapeboy it's meant to be a bit more simple. You just turn it on and then you affect the mix, which isn't bad at all. This is quicker and easier to use, which may be more convenient for some people. Maybe for some people, they want to have a bit more control over the sound. So if you do want to have a bit more control over those parameters, that may be something that you may not be a fan of with this plugin. But if you're looking for a quick and easy to use solution that still sounds really good and really useful, then I would definitely highly recommend Tapeboy. So once again, if you are a fan of this plugin and if you want to try it out for yourself, there will be a link in the description below for you to download and purchase it. If you want to navigate to it on your own, just go to slapexperts.com, and that's where you'll be able to find this page right here. So this has been my review of Tapeboy by Curtis King. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like what you've seen today, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you know whenever I upload new videos. Also, if you are a fan of the Tapeboy plugin and if you want to download it for yourself, you'll be able to find the link for it in the description below. Also, be sure to visit my website, L Marquis Productions, where you'll be able to check out my music, my beats, my sample kits, my merchandise, and my mixing, mastering, and consulting services. And now go down in the comment section below and let me know, what do you think about the Tapeboy plugin? Do you like the plugin? Is it something that you're going to use? Do you not really like it? Do you think that you might want to use something else? And also leave me some suggestions for some other products or plugins that you would also like me to review. My name is L Marquis Productions. God bless.